The being who knows things about you that you do not seem to know, Arlow. The being who seems to know you yourself. The being who has seemingly seen 𝐄𝐩𝐤𝐬 in all its glory at one point. Whose presence reads as a mystery entirely to your mind, of which lacks so much of its memories. But it is Rain who speaks next, when he looks at all of you. And he says, "You'd better have a way to fix this, or else I will take matters into my own hands." And then he glances at all of you again, and then his eyes freeze on Arlow. And he says, "You're the ones with a guardian at your side, after all." And he looks, he stares you down, Arlow.
Oh my.
He stares.
Fuck.
Arlow literally goes.
He looks you down, Arlow, and he says, "If you've retained any of the power you once had, now is the time to use it."
If you weren't so vague about everything, I probably would have known about this earlier.
He just gestures towards Alder as though he expects that you should know what to do, Arlow. That you've done it before.
Are you talking about the healing thing? Because I can't do that all the time. I can only do that.
Rain,
Although please do it.
Yeah.
This
Rain
bitch.
just looks at you and his eyes look fiery as he says, "Try." As you sit there, furiously scribbling away these drawings, finishing a few, I'm sure, and kind of tossing them to a side, trying desperately every single time to fully capture that image of her that you saw on this parchment, a more real picture of her beauty, of who she is from how you saw her.
Yeah.
You're almost too distracted to notice that there's a sound of something, but it grows louder. And as it does, your muddled brain does start to hear it, distracting you from your work for a moment. Footsteps, light and soft, are stepping through the dark shadows of the tavern. Do you look up from your work? Okay.
He probably jumps. He's probably like, cause he's so in it, he probably gets really jarred out of his little daydream.
Valid.
Suddenly feels not so safe anymore.
Valid. When you look up and you stare into the darkness in that way that, like, this is the only light in the room, so it's almost blinding, that you can't really see anything in the dark, there's just this light from the beam of the lantern and a faint bit of moonlight shining in from behind the window curtains. And you do not see anyone. You do not even see a silhouette or a shape. But you still hear footsteps. It's the sound of boot heels on the wooden floor of the tavern, and the gate is soft and gentle, but careful and cautious. But still, you see no one. They grow louder and louder and louder until they genuinely sound as though they are right beside the table you are working at. And you see a few of the papers rumple on the wooden surface before you, shifting. Shifting as though there's a gust of wind or a presence. Before, when you turn back to where you heard the footsteps and away from the papers once more, there is a being there now. As though they materialized from thin air, and it is not someone you would quite expect nor want to be standing beside you in the shadows. It is Rain. And it is actually truly Rain. Not Rain in the form of Tobias, but the nearly 7-foot tall, slender form of Rain himself. And his white hair is painted this warm off-white in the glow of the lantern, and his eyes are shimmering, they're pale pink. But they are clouded with an emotion you cannot quite read. His scars and their scratchy nature, like claws dragged across his face, are glowing in the darkness, strobing lightly, that faint shade of bright blue as he stands there. He's staring directly at your drawings, and he is looming tall and unnerving over you. And there is a frown that is creasing his brow, but he is eerily silent. And he does not remove his eyes from the drawing. do you say anything, Arlo? Or do anything?
I think once Arlo realizes it's Rain, he like puts his hands like down on the table and just like stare, like he doesn't look up. Like he's not like he's like not gonna make eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
But like he's watching from the corner of his eye.
If I don't move, he can't see me.
Basically, kind of like that's the vibe. And he's looking at the drawings.
Mm-hmm.
And he's frowning at them.
Yes. Like it's like a crease of like worry, the way someone would like frown in worry at something.
Okay.
Or in despair, I suppose. Like,
I think Arlo would slowly. Oh. Don't like them?
Rain does not move at all, but when you look at him, his eyes are the only things that move, and they immediately meet yours.
Okay, I look back down.
And he lifts a hand, and he places it on a specific drawing that is kind of this rough sketch of your sister, of this young girl. And he places his hand there, this like charcoal black hand with these long taloned nails, and takes a moment and takes a deep breath before he says, Idona. Her name was Idona. And this time he turns his head and he looks at you.
I think Arlo like looks at him for like a beat and just like in awe, and then immediately goes.
Valid. Valid.
How do you spell that?
Do you ask him that?
Yes.
Okay. He places a hand over your hand. And he takes
my writing hand?
Mm-hmm. The one that's furiously like ready to write it. And he takes the quill and he writes in this elegant script along the paper for you. And it's Idona. Idona.
Yeah, write that down. Oh.
And as he does so, he turns back to you and he frowns and he says, you don't remember.
Mm-mm. Only what I got last night in my dream. That's all.
He leans back a moment and he nods and he says, the way I see it is that you either forget to protect yourself or you remember to avenge yourself. And he looks at you carefully and he says, I think it is pretty clear out of the two of us who is who.
Give me a second. Give me a moment.
You're good, you're good.
Feels like it's a pretty bad place to be in either way. Kind of an extreme imbalance, if you ask me.
He nods very slowly. And he kind of turns as though ready to leave again. But he hesitates a moment, and he looks back, and he frowns at the paper once more, before he looks at you again, directly in the eyes. And he says, the one to blame is already dead.
Then what's the next step?
He smiles. He smiles at this. Just like one side of his mouth, that little like kind of quirk of a smile. I say you continue trying to remember. She would deserve that. And it is then that he lifts his cloak and yeah, and he vanishes.
The moment he's gone, Arlo's like, yeah!
Because it is so quiet in this tavern, Arlo, he vanishes, but you hear those footsteps again. boot heels clicking on the wood, and you hear a slight creak as the front door to the tavern opens and shuts, and he disappears. You don't see him, but you only
Bitch
hear
has
it.
to use doors. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew he has to use doors.
Well,
All
who's
my
to say
homies
this entire
hate
time
doors.
he hasn't just been there?
Just, oh,
Nasty.
hate that.
Absolutely revolting. Hate that.
Oh.
She turns to you, and this time she's smiling, wide, and her cheeks are brightening as she breaks out into a fit of giggles. And when she says, "Arlo, run," this time it is full of laughter. And she moves, and she transforms into the ethereal horse, the same as she did in the night before, but this time happy and free and full of joy as she bounds off towards the woods. And you watch her go for a moment, surely in confusion and this odd feeling of deja vu, before those hands are on your shoulders. Like you had felt before, a strong grip pulling you back. And this time, rather than fading to black, the dream continues, Arlo. And you're pulled backwards into the grass with a gentle force. And when you look up, you see a being looking over you, smiling and laughing, just as your sister had. And when you turn to squint against the sunlight, you realize you actually recognize the being. A very young, perhaps the same age as your sister, boy, who stands before you. Hair long and tumbling and white, and eyes bright and aglow and pink. His face is free of scars, and he looks just as he had in the portrait of him in his younger years. Perhaps only 14 or 15. And he's staring at you with a wide smile across his pale expression that is rare and ethereal a sight, and almost heart-stopping. And he leans over to poke you in the chest before chuckling softly, "You're it," before he takes off into a sprint after your sister. And you find yourself frozen there a moment. Even in a dreamy haze of unconsciousness, your mind cannot truly wrap around the fact that you had just seen Rain, young and smiling, and free of all worries whatsoever. And that is where we're going to leave our episode.
I feel like we are
I
put
got
in
him
a
on
situation
speed
with
dial.
this goddamn
Are
necklace. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys.
It's an option.
I got him on speed
I literally
It's-
told Boff
I'm
yesterday. I was like,
sorry.
if we have to use that fucking necklace again to get out of it, I'm gonna throw something.
Arlo sits up.
Hmm.
He's in that like stage of where he just stopped sobbing, but he's like in the like haze,
Yeah.
and he looks angry.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he gets up and he beelines it to Andromeda.
Oh no.
Let me talk to him,
Otto,
please.
Otto, please don't do this.
I'm asking you guys to trust me, and I've not asked you that before. And everyone gets to make choices, drastic choices to save the person they love, so I get to do it now. So let me talk to him.
Okay, she's gonna stand it over to me.
Rain,
You see the light glow a bit. And suddenly, after a few moments, maybe a minute or so, you hear this crackling. And you see this stream of lilac magic. You see a flame, a glow, like a wildfire, crawling around the space around this little igloo of sorts, until the top of it glows and cracks, and you can feel the heat beginning to kind of fill in the space around you. and you see light. As you all begin to stand and start to kind of climb out of this little cavern, you see a silhouette standing there of Tobias.
Look, Tobias.
And you see his
That's Tobias.
Tobias, and you see his hand like kind of go like this, as it does when his flame kind of flickers dead. And he looks at you all a moment, and his eyes catch on Morga, and he tilts his head, and there is this sad look in his eye for a moment before he kind of chuckles and looks at you all.
What's so funny?
And you just see him kind of say, it's like you all just keep owing me favors. I keep doing quite a lot for you.
We didn't call your name, Tobias.
You see, like, his eyes, like, twitch a moment before there's that little flash of pink.
That doesn't make you feel good to be the one that we didn't want to see. You're not the preferred version.
Oh.
I was trying to get that far, but oh god, okay.
Hello,
wait, we got.
You see, like the one eye is pink and the other is still blue, and the one that is blue kind of like the head turns slightly.
You do us a lot of favors, but you can't seem to do yourself one.
He's going.
Hello, here's my brother.
And the other flashes pink now. And you see the entire demeanor of this, like, Tobias form kind of sink a slight bit. The shoulders kind of sink, and the whole demeanor changes.
Just
And he takes a steady breath, and he looks at you. If you're curious, I didn't know that she was here.
You left out a lot of details last time we met. I didn't even know she existed. How about that? I knew you as a young boy, you know that? I bet you do. I bet you remember.
He nods, and he says, we were friends. And then everything was ruined. She has been hiding for a very long time, Arlow.
What are all their names, all seven?
Steps kind of down through the snow a moment, and he steps up towards you. And he looks at you, and he says, there's 𝐂𝐫𝐪𝑖us, Idona, as you know, Nell, Morga, and his eyes kind of dark to her for a moment. 𝐻𝐿𝐼. He always went by Hawks. And his eyes, he like frowns for a moment. And he says, Kai. And you.
Thank you.
Safe to say that your antics have led you all to a very dark place now. And he looks between you all. If your intention was to completely wipe 𝐵𝑒𝐻𝑜RN off the map, you've done it.
Yep.
And he turns a moment. He takes a deep breath. Hope that I could help in some way. Perhaps that he could. You know how to find me if you need me. And he begins to walk away.
No.
Rain?
Keeps walking.
Let him go.
Rain?
Let him go.
He stops, but he doesn't turn.
Do you still care? If you could put it all back the way it was, would you? Before you destroyed it?
He kind of glances at you a moment. And he takes kind of a stuttery breath for a moment. And he nods. I would. But I'm too far gone to even consider it.
That's all.
He
Just
nods.
before you go,
And he looks at you.
just remember, just know the little boy that I used to play with. I had no expectations for him other than to be a child and to have fun and to find joy. And there should never ever be any expectations on a child other than that. Especially from an adult. And especially from a parent.
I told my mother the same once. And he grabs for a portal wall and he smashes it. And this time he kind of steps backwards before he steps into it and it fizzles out.
Arlo passes out.
Oh, God.
And your eyes blink open to a village. Muddy, dirt paths and cobblestone roads bear the weight of carriages, pulled by elegant horses, and travelers of all shapes and sizes, though all seemingly human. They wear layers of clothing, some tattered, while others appear posh and upper class. And while some of the humans seem to be simple workers, stacking hay on wagons or carrying barrels in their arms, some seem to be simply going about their day, holding the hands of children or carrying shopping. And as you stand here, you can smell the salt of a nearby ocean, perhaps very nearby, and you can hear the cawing of gulls and the light splashing of waves against the posts of a port, the creaking of docked ships, seemingly just meters away. And chattering and errant conversations float around the air, and the sun is warm where it kisses your cheeks. And it's all chaotic and erratic in a way, but simultaneously there is this comfort you feel in the depths of your gut, a steady warmth mixing with a bit of nervousness. And a voice sounds out at your side, strong and baritone, and it says, "Do you have a name picked out?" And when you turn, I assume you turn to this voice, it is to the sight of dark, ruffled hair and a few errant red streaks within. And you can already immediately identify that it's Kai, standing at your side. He looks different now from what you can see.
Oh,
His ears are normal. He has human ears. And they are sloped and pale in color. And his complexion is free of any markings aside from a few errant scars on his face, small and light in color. And his eyes are even no longer their intricate shade, but instead this dark amber. And he wears simple clothing, a loose dark poet blouse, and matching pants, even some black boots. Everything and anything that read as magic or even the sea about him seems to have vanished. And he stands beside you, very eerily human. And he looks at you and he meets your gaze and he says again, "Arlo, do you have a name?"
Arlo like looks at him and looks at his ears. Arlo goes up to feel his own to see if they're there.
They are not. You feel human ears. Real.
What am I gonna name? What now?
He frowns. Your alias, you don't.
Oh, my alias. Right. My alias.
You did pick one out, right?
Yes, I'm just trying to decide which one I like best. Currently. What is yours? Can I know yours so that I have some idea?
He sighs. He's like, Davy Jones.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was fitting for this era. Strong name.
Okay. Well, what if I'm like, I'll be Will Turner. I don't understand.
I'm a stan.
Not okay with that.
I could kiss you right now.
Go, 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 go.
And you see him like kind of smile at you, and he's like, "That's a good one."
See? I never let down.
He like looks at you, fixes you with a look, looks you up and down, and then his eyes dart to something or someone that seems as though they are just over your shoulder, Arlo. And he kind of like looks forward, and he just says, "Stop staring." And did you turn to look?
Yes.
As you turn,
I'm frozen in place.
Fair. Fair. Just before, or I suppose as you turn, you hear this sharp voice respond. And it is soft and lilting and young, as it says, Sorry, you're both just terribly strange without the fish ears." And when you turn, Arlo, to your opposite side, there's a being standing there. Hair to their shoulders, and it is choppy and errant and ruffled and pure snow white. And Rain is there, with his eyes a dimmer shade of pink, more natural and not as eerie. And no, you're good. Please geek out.
I love it.
He wears clothes very similar to what Kai is wearing, and his ears are noticeably human as well. Not even half as pointed as usual. And he looks younger than the Rain that you have seen in present day. He looks as though he is like 18 years old. He looks like he is a teenager, more or less. And his face is softer and more polished, and there are no scars. And his cheeks are more like round and full. And he kind of arches a brow at you, Arlo, when you glance back at him, before he kind of looks back at Kai. And you just hear Kai say, "Can you act normal for 2 seconds, Rain?" Before you see Kai kind of smirk at him, and Rain only seems to shrug his shoulders. And he shakes his head in confusion. And it's almost like they're having this conversation, like, over you, in a way. And he turns to Kai and he says, I don't understand your fascination. If you want to know about humans, you could just ask me." And Kai just frowns and, like, crosses his arms over his chest. And he says, "I want the immersive experience." Before he, like, turns back and looks at, like, the just village before you all. And he looks at you, Arlo. And he just says, "Ready?"
Yes.
And Rain leans forward and says, "For what, exactly?" And Kai lifts a hand, and it is oddly non-webbed as he points directly forward.
I was like...
And he points at a building. Yeah, no webs.
Weird.
He points at a building, and he says, "I am going to order an alcoholic beverage in there." And he starts walking. And he saunters off, and you see his wavy dark hair bouncing, basically, as he saunters off. And he is walking very confidently towards this building.
Uh-huh.
And Rain is still standing beside you, and he sighs for a moment, and he says, "Your brother is terribly exhausting, though I'm sure you are aware."
Oh, God.
He looks at you.
Give me a second.
You're good. It's okay.
Arlo is, like, staring at Kai, I think because, he's just scared to look at Rain.
That's fair. And this is like more of Kai than you've seen, like, ever. So
Yeah. So,
and like
yeah,
he's walking confidently towards a building, like he doesn't.
I know,
give a
right?
shit. Listen.
And I feel like he's like like he's comfortable with Kai. He's feels safe with Kai, whereas like with Rain, he's still scared a little bit.
Because you
like,
only know modern Rain. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he like is open to modern Rain as well, but he's
Yeah.
still like so unsure. But so he's like eyes
He's a
fixated
spooky
on
guy.
him.
He's a spooky
And he just
guy.
like he's just like kind of like leans over and he's like, is this his like first drink, or does he always do that before he goes to drink, or he announces it like that?
Rain just, like, watches Kai, then looks back at you. You know, I don't know.
You think I would know, but I don't.
He looks you up and down a minute. I think he wants us to drink alcoholic beverages with him.
Right. How tall is he?
Rain, here?
Yeah.
Rain is probably like, maybe like 6'3". He's like shorter here.
Oh god. So yeah, Arlo's fucking looking up at
Yeah.
him. Oh my god. Arlo, he like does the thing where he like looks up at him to talk, but he flashes back to that first time that like Rain visited him in 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐬,
Yeah.
and like he shoots his head back down. But like, I don't think he's like obnoxious about it, but you know, he tries to be subtle about it, but
Yeah.
you know, he's nervous.
Fair.
We should go. Do that.
He looks at you very carefully a moment. Are you okay? You seem confused. You did agree to this.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just, my mind's somewhere else right now. That's all.
Alright, well. And you feel probably, and it is probably like you feel him just like put an arm around your shoulders.
Oh, God.
And he like pulls you for a second. And like in that very much just like that warm like squeeze for a second. Before he like drops his arm and he looks at you and he says, let's go drink alcohol. And he just starts walking forward.
Okay. Or like probably shakes his head and then like in disbelief and like makes his little way.
And as you follow, Rain does look over, like, or look behind his shoulder at you, and he just says, you know, for as exhausting as your brother is, his perks outweigh his oddities. And he continues forward.
Well, more about that. Do you, is the dream still going on? Can I still?
Yes, you can. You can. The walk up to the tavern, you can, yeah.
Okay. What parts do you think are the best? What parts are the perks to you?
You see his face, like his eyes widen for a moment and his brows kind of furrow. And you see him kind of like look away and he like blinks a moment. And if you squint, his cheeks are like pinkening as he's standing there. And he clears his throat and he's like, that's a weird question, actually.
Why are you reacting like that?
I want alcohol. And he like quickens his pace towards the tavern.
Just like okay. Alcohol then. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about this. Hold on, give me a second.
You're totally fine.
This is crazy. I love when you just drop your lore like that. Isn't it fun? Wow.
Didn't expect you to ask that question, so.
Sorry, I'm really trying to process that.
You're fine.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck Arlo can say in that quick of time.
Yeah, real.
This is always so hard.
You can grab him too. Slow down the time if you want.
Oh, grab him. I don't know I could do that.
He stops and he like looks at you.
Sorry. Before we go in, I want to make sure I don't want to. It's hard to explain this to you without giving you so much context. How do you, can I ask you some really, personal questions suddenly?
He looks at you. I mean,
it's for the greater good. Just if you just take my word for it, and it's
no. I don't think there's much that you don't know about me, but sure.
No, I know. I'm gonna ask questions that I know the answers to. I just need you to tell me them again, and then try to act like it's not the weirdest thing you've ever done.
The weirdest thing I've ever done is this right now. So
that's what Okay, well, that's what I mean.
It's the whole. It's the seeing you without the fish ears and the.
Oh, yeah, this is the weirdest for me.
He looks at your hands.
The webs.
Yeah, I can imagine that's weird. What? Okay.
What is... How do you feel about your parents?
He just... Bit of a loaded question.
I know. If you could give me, how do you feel about your dad?
He's great. He's always been really supportive and loving, I suppose.
And you feel the same way about your mom?
My mom and I have a bit of a tense relationship.
Okay. How about your siblings? Can I ask that?
You know them, but yeah.
How do you feel about them?
My older brother has a stick up his ass, but other than that, he's fine. And my sister is very important to me. She's my responsibility, in a way.
I get that. I'm gonna ask one more, and it's gonna be really weird.
Okay.
Is Idona alive?
We saw her like an hour ago.
Okay.
Should I be concerned that she's not?
No. I've been having nightmares that I can't parse out. That's why I've been so lost. So I just needed to get some information clear.
You feel a shoulder or a hand land on your shoulder. And it squeezes for a moment, and he looks at you.
And Arlo has, like, you can see, like, his eyes are red.
He looks at you. Nightmares are just nightmares. Your sister's fine.
Right? Yeah.
And your
Felt really
brother
real.
is probably going to get drunk if we do not get in that bar, so...
Yeah, good point.
He looks at you, and he sees you getting, like, upset, like he sees you crying, beginning to cry,
Yeah.
and he's like, Arlo, did I say something wrong? Or...
No, not at all. I've just,
He pulls on, like, the sleeve of his little, like, poet blouse, and he just, like, pushes at your cheek for a moment, and pushes at your other cheek.
I love him so much.
Before he kind of looks at you, and he says, listen, if Kai finds out that you are crying out here, he's going to blame me.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's all fine.
It's all fine.
It's all fine.
Thanks.
Yeah. Alcohol.
Well, yeah, I could use it, so let's go.
I hate it, but here we are. And he keeps walking towards the tavern. But he walks a lot slower now, almost as though wanting to give you that time to catch up and, like, walk beside him. And Arlo, I assume you do begin walking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it here.
Tio, the tears!
Oh, I just started to care about Rain so much.
Real. You hear the crashing of waves first, as you finally find your way towards sleep. Dimitri, of course, curled up behind you, as he typically is. And the crashing of these waves can be heard along with water splashing up onto sharp rocks. And you hear the cawing of gulls and the distant shouts of fishermen and seafarers alike. You hear the creaking and shifting of rocking ships. And your eyes open, and when you're finally able to blink past bright sunlight, you take in the sight of a bustling port down from upper ground. And you are looking down over what looks to be a tumbling cliffside. Sharp rocks forming a bordering edge. And off it you can see a small town, alive and beating and warm with commotion. And people walk amongst cobblestone roads, in and out of shops and stores, and they climb around on ships that sit docked in the bay. And not just any ships. Tall, sprawling vessels with giant sails and waving flags. Ships like the ones you'd see in Little Mermaid, your subconscious provides. Which is funny because I wrote that here and I didn't know you were going to do that little thing. They are tall and looming, and they cast shadows over the town and the townsfolk.
I'm gonna die.
And the ocean...
Oh, I'm not on mute. Sorry, go ahead. I keep reacting and then forgetting.
Please leave yourself unmuted. That's fine. The ocean is just there. It is there in your line of sight, and it is long and expansive and so very blue, and it takes up the majority of the sight before you. A world of turquoise and cyan and deep cerulean, and waves crash and fall and kiss up against sharp rocks, and they flutter in the distance along a salty sea. And you sit on higher ground, staring out over the scene, and sitting upon soft grass, the blades smooth and gentle against your skin and your webbed fingers. And you're out of sight of any townspeople or passerbys, it seems. A forest behind you that sits quiet and eerily still, aside from the ocean breeze that carries through it and around you from time to time. It smells of sea salt and a marketplace and the soft pungency of pine. And as you stare out at the little world going on beneath you, a voice rings out at your side, gentle and distressed. And it says, "I don't think I could ever tell him." You turn towards the voice.
Yeah.
Okay. You immediately recognize it as Rain.
Oh, fuck me.
And it is...
What did you say about the Nexuses? I'm just kidding.
It is soft.
I'm about to eat my words so hard.
It is soft, and you see when you look at him that he looks more or less the same as he looked in that other dream you just had recently. If he was even a year older, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. But he sits there, and his skin is that light gray, pale shade, and his ears are pointed now. And his hair is long, but not quite as long as you know the current him to have. Sort of shaggy, almost, and just that his shoulder blades. And he has this frown on his face. Clear face, no scars. And you can see the ethereal color of his pink eyes. And they move to meet yours. And he watches you carefully after the words he just said.
Arlo's heart against his own self swells in seeing Rain, I think.
And also, he is sitting next to you, like you were sitting on the floor in this like soft grass, and he's sitting crisscross applesauce. And his hands are fiddling with little blades of grass in front of him as he watches you.
He's sitting next to me, you said?
Mm-hmm. Like, so close that your knees are touching.
Yeah. Of course. Of course, because of course. Sorry. Arlo pauses. And thinks. And says... Well, talk me through the pros and cons list again.
He kind of laughs softly. And he sighs. Cons are the bad things, right?
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Right. Good one.
Another is, I think he sees me as an unruly child that annoys him and is friends with his little sister. A fact of which also annoys him.
I don't think that he feels that way. He doesn't think that. I think that he thinks you're neat. I think he just is to himself and grumpy.
He just kind of, like, his lips kind of quirk up a slight minute, and he shakes his head, and you see his expression fall again, and his shoulders kind of slump a moment. And he swallows. And he sounds every bit like a teenager that has a crush. And he just kind of, like, shakes his head a moment. And he says, another con, I cannot possibly compare to a guardian. It's like a commoner and a deity.
So, I would so fall in love with not a guardian.
I have nothing to offer.
You have plenty to offer. You have you.
Mm-hmm.
Us, tons.
I can see my mother laughing at me right now.
Well,
Look at me,
I'm not
laughing
laughing
at
at you.
Me in love with a guardian. Orion, sure. Calypso, even. Fine, whatever. Though she's too young for stupidities. But Rain, what could he possibly offer a pure one?
Is that what love is then? Offerings? What you can give one another?
Isn't it what you're worth?
Well, is that why you hang out with me? Because I give you something? Or because you like hanging out with me?
He looks down a moment. I love hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you too.
It's you and your siblings and my siblings. You're all extraordinary. And my father and I, we are just ordinary.
Your father and you are just ordinary. I don't see it that way. How do you see it that way?
No magic. Sure, I am a magic being, and that is fine, but I cannot do anything.
What would you do? Like, if you... How far do you feel like you would go? Like, to feel like that. Like, to feel like you had something to offer. Or magic, I guess. I worry when that's all you attribute your value to. So, I ask.
I am content to cheer on my brother and sister in their abilities. While it would be nice to have something of my own, I've made amends with being normal. Though it could be nice to help people like you do.
Yeah. It's nice. But also it comes with its things too, right? Pressures and mistakes and stuff. And who's to say that I won't lose it one day, right? And then what? Would you still hang out with me?
He smiles. And like he smells like wide, like you see his teeth. And he's like, what you would lack in magic, you would make up for in personality.
Thank you. I think the same goes for you, but in heart.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
He takes a
Seems
shaky
like-
breath, and he nods softly. I don't think I'm going to tell him.
That's okay. You can change your mind too if you decide you want to, but I think it's okay to not want to now. You know I won't tell him.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'd quite like to stay in this moment for unforeseeable time, I suppose.
I've never resonated with something more.
He takes a breath a moment, and his eyes kind of drift to the ocean, and there's a slight just aura of longing in his eyes as he looks before he turns back to you. He takes a breath. When my brother and my sister move on to do extraordinary things with their magic, will you keep me company?
Arlow. Oh, fucking hell. That's such an emotional thing to fucking ask, bro. Okay. Arlow. Haha. Or he can't cry every time he sees Rain.
It's okay. It's okay.
Can't do it. Arlow says, I'm thinking of something clever and almost poetic to say, but I can't find anything, so the answer is yes.
Rain just nods a moment. He takes a breath. Oh, I can just stay in paradise with you.
Sounds nice, right?
Oh yeah, as long as you promise to care for me when I am old and wrinkled.
You got it. I feel like he'll make a like a little scrunkly old guy who like tells people to get off their lawns and stuff. Or a very handsome, elegant old guy who is cool.
The problem is that I am on your lawn, so it doesn't really.
Yeah, well, we're on the lawn together, telling people to get off.
Oh, that I can get behind.
Well, yeah, if you're living in paradise, I mean, it's your lawn too at that point. It's a shared lawn.
It has felt more like my lawn than the lawn at the capital ever has.
Well, it is your lawn as long. It's your lawn as long as you want it.
Well, there is no end to that, so.
Arlow, like, has a moment where, like, he looks down, like, furrows his eyebrows because he's, like, realizing that he's making promises that aren't even real. He's just like, yeah, of course. Just moonwalk through the crying.
Do you say anything on that, or do you?
Oh.
Pain, only pain.
Oh, yes. No, yes. Yes. Yes, because it's my fucking dream. I always feel, I'm like, I don't want to say anything too embarrassing. Like, it's my
your
fucking
dream.
head.
It is your mind.
Arlow goes, if something ever separated us, what do you think would be powerful enough to bring us back together again?
Well, I should think.
What?
We care about each other, so wouldn't that be enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if something took you away, I would fight to find you. I suppose I'd hope you'd do the same.
Yeah, I would.
Well, then you needn't worry. I think we figured it out.
I'm gonna keep fighting for you.
His, like, face just kind of, like he kind of pulls back a moment. Who are you fighting?
No, I'm just sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. He, like, looks at you. I think I have been taking up conversation of my stupid little crush. Are you okay?
No. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You know how you just said, you wish you could live in this memory forever? In a way, I'm sleeping right now, and I'm experiencing it again. So I know you feel, like this is happening right now, but it did. But it's in the past. So I am doing the thing I just said. I'm in it. I'm back in it.
Okay. He kind of frowns. In that case, is the you that is sleeping okay?
Well, I'm not gonna, it's a lot of information. A little bit too much for you right at one go. But
Little 17-year-old Rain.
I fucking know! Oh my god, it's so sad. Rain. I'm looking to find a way back to you right now. In the awake, real, present time. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to put all the pieces together.
No, oh, why are we not together?
I don't know yet.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. But it seems like you're in a lot of pain. And I've been in a lot of pain, but then I forgot everything.
Well, I can assure you that I feel fine.
Sorry, I know this is probably crazy.
No, magic is magic, I suppose. I don't quite understand it. So I believe you.
Yeah. I figured you might. Which is nice, because I feel like I haven't really been willing to talk to you about this.
Well, maybe when you're not awake, you can just will yourself back here.
Yeah. Back to this moment. Maybe. I'm sorry for the bad news.
No, that's fine. As long as we find our way back, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Well then, me, in the awake, looks forward to it.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
He's just smiling like,
This was nice. Thank you.
oh yeah, then don't tell anyone.
About
By anyone. Yeah.
about Kai?
Yes. About.
Well, I'm about to wake up, but I won't tell anyone. You're right. I'm past Arlo, won't tell anyone. He's got your back. And so does current Arlo. And all the Arlos.
An army of Arlows.
Oh. Band of idiots, some may say.
Ah. With an army of Arlows, I am sure to win the war.
That is the goal, I guess, in some way.
I suppose I should let you sleep then.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'll come back.
Okay. Then I will wait.
Okay. Also, you are cool, even though you don't have magic. And my brother would be lucky to date you. So.
You see him look away and look down. And he nods. I've never heard that. So, thank you. Not the brother dating part, the first part.
I mean that. Our friendship is built of much more than just magic. You know that. And now I know that. I know Wake Arlo will know that too. Is there anything else you want to Wake Arlo to know? Feel free to, even your favorite color. Or, I know that your favorite candy is gummy worms. Do they exist here? Too much.
Never had a gummy worm.
You're gonna love them. Sorry.
No, you're good. He just kind of, he laughs like, huh. I want you to tell Awake Arlo that I'm sorry that I made him doubt me.
He already knows. And he forgives you.
Fuck you. Part 2. Electric Boogaloo.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's just coming out of me, man.
He nods.
These are all decisions Arlo's making in this moment.
Yeah,
I'm so
fuck
serious.
you.
He was not certain about it until these moments.
It's fucking hurt.
Oh.
He nods and he takes a breath and says, well, I can rest easy knowing that, then.
Yeah. And I'll wake up with a new burst of great encouragement. A pep talk.
I'm not very good at those, but...
I feel pepped.
Well then, I guess I succeeded this once.
There you go.
He nods. And he just kind of looks back at the ocean a moment. And he swallows and says, you should also tell Awake Arlo that he is pretty extraordinary.
I'll pass along the message.
Good.
I'm gonna hug you now.
How did you fucking know?
What did you say? Fucking went away.
How did you fucking know I was gonna make him hug you? You fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Are they just going at the same time?
Yeah!
Everything is broken.
And it is as you collide with him in this hug that the rest of your mind just slips into black. That's not funny. Fuck you for that, for real. He is wearing a simple black poet blouse and black trousers. And Arlo, for you, he looks so similar to that young version in your dreams. And he still has that little belt of tools on with like the little small elixir bottles and potions of sorts. And even that little dagger that he keeps on his side. He almost takes a moment to like brace himself as he looks at all of you. Takes like a breath before he walks closer and joins kind of where you're all at in that room, in that like wide open space. And he keeps his distance, but he comes within like a good talking distance, I guess, essentially.
So Arlo's body goes to take a step forward, like towards him, and then stops himself.
I think this is gonna kill me, actually.
Yeah.
This might be where I say my goodbyes.
And Arlo goes,
You cannot. You did this. You can't.
"You did this to us."
That's so fair.
Arlo's looking over at everyone to see if they're gonna say anything, and he looks like he wants to, but he's not gonna.
Hello.
Right. Hi.
Yeah.
He looks
Your
at
turn.
you.
And Arya turns around.
My turn.
Yep.
We're taking turns.
Yep, we're taking turns.
This is so painful.
I actually do have a question for him.
Oh,
Well, you go right
Aaron?
ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him alone. If that's okay.
Oh, yes,
Oh.
of course.
Okay.
I look at Rain, if that's okay with you as well, since you'd be the person I'd be talking to.
he frowns a moment and he just like nods.
Cool. Theron? I'm talking with him alone. If that's okay.
Okay with you, Rain?
He nods again.
We'll be here.
He kind of like looks around for a moment and then immediately just like turns on his heel and starts walking towards not that door, but a different one.
I'll follow behind him.
And it seems like it's like a little door that has like kind of a chipped little thing that says like office, almost as if it was just an old little office as part of this museum. And he, and he kind of like holds the handle.
Little like work office.
Yeah, glances at you a moment and then like pushes it and opens and walks inside. And he leaves it like open behind for you to close, essentially.
And I do.
And this little room is a very small little space, but it's got like furniture covering, or what's it called? Sheets covering the furniture in this room as well. And like a large desk that has like a big sheet covering it, and a few like little like old bookshelves and things that are kind of falling apart at this point. And there's like some errant like books kind of laying around on the floor, like just left essentially. And Rain kind of takes a step in and doesn't really turn to face you yet, just kind of stands there, like tall and dark in this bright room. And you see him take like a very shaky breath before he kind of like clears his throat and just kind of waits.
Yeah, free to hang out for a second?
He like takes a breath, turns, like finally fully looks at you, almost like with this frustration with himself of like, get it fucking together. Like meets your eye and just kind of nods again.
Cool. Arlo goes to where there's like a clear spot on the ground and he sits down, crisscross applesauce, And he looks up at Rain and he pats the ground and he says, "When's the last time that you sat crisscross applesauce on the ground?"
It's been a while.
Okay, well, are you gonna join me or make me look like a fool?
Sorry, I'm keeping it together. He moves and he slowly like folds down into a seating position, and he is so large, and so it is very like lanky and awkward for him as he sits. And he like kind of meets your eye and just very, very like gently and like kind of withdrawn, just like puts his hands in his lap and just looks at you.
Right. Arlow goes through his little bag. And he brings out his deck of cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he is like, I thought it might be fun to play a game with no stakes for a chance. For a break with an old friend. And Arlo takes out the decks and just starts shuffling them.
Rain
Have you ever played?
He's dead silent, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I'm dealing out cards, and I say, "Have you ever played Go Fish?"
I've never been fishing a day in my life.
Okay, well, it's the name of a game. It's not referring to fishing, but I appreciate that on behalf of all fish everywhere. Basically, you get like 7 cards and I'll get 7 cards, and you're looking for matches, and we help each other out by asking if one or the other has a match or has a card that one of us have. So like if I have an ace, I'll ask, "Do you have an ace?" And if you don't, you say, "Go fish." I pick up a card. And then we just go until we have matches.
A game.
If you want to play, you don't have to. Again, there is no stakes. No winners or losers either.
He nods. No consequences either.
Nah, not with me.
His eyes like search your face, like very like, just like scattering.
Yeah.
Before he nods slowly. 1 game.
Cool, thanks. How do you roleplay Go Fish?
We can literally say, "Do you have this?" And then Go Fish in between conversation is the way that my brain went.
Sick, cool, thank you. Sometimes I just need your guidance.
It's just little things you can add on.
Okay. Do you have a 6?
Go fishing.
Okay, I will go fishing. Oh, see, look! I got a 6. So if you go fishing and you pick up a card that you will make a match with, then it counts. So 1 point for me. But there's no winners or losers. It's just exciting to have a point. Your turn.
Did you come here just to play a card game with me?
No, I came here to apologize for what I said at 𝐂𝐻𝐪. And also to play a round of Go Fish with you.
He frowns, he looks down. I don't understand. What is it that you said at 𝐂𝐻𝐪 that you think needs an apology?
I said... I accused you of destroying everything before I even knew anything. And whether or not, I'm certain it wasn't fair to me to say. Not with no context.
It was fair if it was not so false an accusation.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for that.
You needn't be sorry. You're only speaking the truth. Do you have a 7?
I don't. Go fishing.
Damn it. He reaches on. Oh, what do I do if it's not a 7?
Is it match any of the rest of your cards?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Then that counts.
He takes the other one, puts it down.
You're good at this game. All right. Do you have an 8?
Yes.
May I have it?
He like looks back at you, grabs it, holds it out to you.
Nice. Thanks. I put it down. You're pretty good at this.
He just has this like consistent frown on his face. Like he does not comprehend
Sure.
why you're not like bombarding him with questions or like asking him anything or like saying anything about anything. He's just like, he's so confused.
Arlo's also freaking out though too. Like he's just like,
fair.
I think Arlo like logged into the fact that he was doing this like mid the fact that they were doing this. He was like, I'm here.
Yeah. He's like, oh fuck, wait, okay, this isn't a dream actually. This one.
This isn't a dream.
No.
I like the thing you did with the gummy worms. Where did they go?
They didn't go very far. It is
I had a feeling.
simple illusion magic, and they were just on the ground.
Fancy.
Mixing
Lots of
illusions with invisibility is tactical.
Yeah, sounds like it. You know, I thought you were cool before all the magic tricks. Do you have a... Wait, is it my turn or your turn?
He like kind of frowns and he's like, do you remember?
I've been gifted with some fond memories the past couple nights, yeah.
How much do you remember?
I couldn't tell you. I don't have much comparison to go off of. Just a couple moments.
Any moments that stand out as awful?
No. Not at all, actually. Quite the opposite.
Do you have a 3?
I do. There you go.
He takes it, adds it to his pile.
Do you have an ace?
Yes.
If you're willing to offer it, thank you.
The way that he has to ask for permission, like, can you give it to me?
May I have it?
Can I have it? He looks at you very carefully. What sort of things do you remember?
I remember the Griffin's Den with you and Kai when we were humans that one time. But before we walked in. Just outside. And then I spent a night with you overlooking a town on a hill in grass. And you were talking about Kai as well.
So, Rain's most embarrassing moments, that's what you remember.
Arlo laughs.
Rain does not, but when you laugh, his eyes flicker to you, and they almost widen a fraction, like, oh god, what do I do about that? Before they just kind of like dart back down.
Listen, if anyone was being totally embarrassing, it was me, considering that I was trying to convince past you that awake Arlo wanted to talk to current you. You were very stressed out and very concerned.
I think I would have understood.
You did.
Well, then keep pushing.
I am. I've had a lot of dreams, Rain, and I hadn't ever told anyone that in them. But I knew you would, I don't know why I knew, but I knew you would understand.
It is so easy for you to say so when you only have the good memories.
Yeah, well, I'm not naive. I just thought it could be nice to I don't know. It seems like you haven't been doing too well for a while, so I thought before I learn everything else. But I also am more aware that there's more to it, I guess. Which is why I'm apologizing for what I said. Because I know that there's more factors than that.
You were not wrong to say it. Perhaps it wasn't all me, but I certainly played a huge role. I would like to sit and finish this game of go fishing, but unfortunately, if I wait too long before bringing Tobias back, then I will shatter, so to speak.
Well, we can't have that.
Well,
when did you get so tall?
he frowns at you. My father's doing, fortunately.
Oh. I didn't expect that.
Games.
Games.
With stakes and consequences. And a winner and a loser.
Hate those kinds.
It is never fun to lose.
No, but the winners love it.
I could try something with you and your friends, in a moment. He looks around, almost a little paranoid in a way, and he just kind of looks at you very purposefully, I guess is the word.
Okay.
When we return to them, I will need to disappear for a moment, and then I will return, and we can have I can see you out. You should know, the painting, it's not accurate.
I was wondering.
Hmm.
Is he red?
Oh yes, the colors are...
I got attached to the color.
They are mostly accurate. It is the depiction, I suppose.
Well, it's beautiful. Looked at it for a long time.
Right.
Lastly, and then I'll go. I want to just say another sorry. A precursor of sorts, maybe. Just for anything I might have done to betray you that I don't remember.
He takes a breath. He sighs. He, shakes his head a moment. Closes his eyes. Not once did you ever betray me. It is I who betrayed you. So, I suppose I say that I am sorry.
It's okay.
You said you only dreamt of my confession. About
your
brother.
Yeah. You were trying to figure out whether or not you wanted to tell him.
I went to tell him.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
I saw that he was otherwise preoccupied.
Understood. I'm sorry.
Nothing. He frowns. Nothing grotesque, I assure you.
Wasn't thinking that, but
Right. He kind of just is like... Simply that he was staring very adoringly at someone. So.
Well, his loss.
Aldo's gang, perhaps.
Mm.
Though I have only brought him misery as well.
I think there's more to it than misery. At least there will be.
Yes, the grand scheme.
For you.
As soon as it is all over, everything will be fine, and everyone will be back and well, and I will have my sister again, and you will have your brother again, and we will be well.
Yeah.
Necessary actions along the way.
Yeah.
Games with consequences.
Hate those.
It will be worth it. She has seen it, and so I believe it.
If you say so.
I fear, though, should the memories come back at the end of all of this, while I might have the things that I want, finally, you will feel nothing but hate. For me, and me alone. And I will not blame you, Aldo. You will be well within your right, but you must understand that it is for a reason. I am doing everything for a reason.
I know. That's the man you are.
You kind of see, as he's sitting there, you hear this little, crack, almost, like a cracking noise.
Okay.
And you see, a little crack in his hand.
I go to reach out.
When you do, it literally feels like a crack in stone, but in flesh.
Okay.
And you see, a slight bit of, a blue light begin to form from beneath. Before you see his other hand come and, kind of move to cover it for a moment.
Sure.
Before he looks at you, and he just says, I should. There's only so much time before I have to put him back. And I would like to use that time to see you out. He says it again, looks at you again.
Right. As you should. See us out.
If you don't mind.
Right. Yeah, no, of course.
If you could wait for me in the foyer.
Uh-huh. And yeah. Arlo like grabs his shit.
He gets to his feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Rain is still sitting crisscross applesauce, and he like looks at you a moment and he says, Arlo.
Rain?
I will never ask you this again. You must help me up.
Okay. Look, already at the door, comes back around and smiles very earnestly at him. And he says, "You can ask me anytime." And
he, as you help him up, like, you can tell that he's putting, like, all his weight on you. Like, it is almost like, it is a great effort to get to his feet. And he kind of sways a moment as he stands there, and he looks at you. And I will say that when you touch him and when you are so close to him, he does feel warm in that same way. Like I've said before, that he seems like he would be cold as stone. But he does not feel that way. And he gets to his feet, sways a slight moment, and then, like, looks at you, takes a breath, and says, thank you for the low-pressure game.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice for me, too.
Never knew fishing to be so exciting.
Well, fish with me anytime.
He nods and says, if only it could be that simple.
Maybe one day.
He closes his eyes a moment, kind of like stands up a little straighter, just kind of says, foyer, I will be right there.
Foyer. And then Arlo grabs his shit and go.
You hear the little whoom behind you. How are you looking as you walk out to the rest of the group? Devastated?
Oh, absolutely. Devastated. Yeah.
If there are any pressing questions that you wish to ask, I will try my best to answer. But it has to be fast, because there is no telling how long I can hold this on all of you.
Yeah, okay.
Ask about the
the 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐻 juice. What's the explanation for that? How?
If I do not have it, I do not function.
No, I know, but where does it come? Where does it come from?
He just nods.
Who's got which guardian?
He looks at you, Arlo, very slowly, and just says, your sister.
Which sister?
Nell.
So you know where she is?
Yes.
Do you know where Cal is?
Yes.
Do you know where Kai is?
Yes.
Is Kai with... Never mind, stupid question.
Did you take away my memories?
No.
Did Cal take away his memories?
No.
Scratch
How much of my gift still... How much do I still have?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is Cal underneath the school?
Yes.
Okay. Is Nell close by?
Yes.
Where's Kai?
Not close by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
He looks at you,
keep going.
Arlo. He looks at you, Arlo, and his expression is desperate as he looks at you.
Understood.
It is falling apart.
Oh wait, I'm trying to remember my question.
Go.
Hold on.
I'm so sorry.
Keep your magic going, Rain.
It's not
Give me a
real
second.
You can take your time to think.
Oh, I almost
He's nodding. He's like,
Right.
he's like,
Why me in Ravenwood? Why me? Why did I escape? Why did you let me?
I didn't let you.
L-
You were
Why
never
was I somewhere-
supposed to escape, Olive.
Well, obviously, I'm a good escape artist, Rain. I don't know what I did. I don't remember. Why was I? Why?
Do you know how Arlo can get his memories back?
That is entirely up to him.
For doing what? By doing what?
As far as I know, you chose to forget.
Oh.
Coward.
Cursing past Arlo.
I love Arlo for that.
That was good. That was good.
That was gorgeous.
That was really good. That was really good.
I am losing even the strength that he gives me. I've been alive for centuries. I've had numerous souls inside my being. I have had numerous people inside my head. I am cracking. And it's only so long before I burst.
Doing a great job holding yourself together now.
And there's nothing we can do to heal it or stop it.
There is. You just don't want to do it, or you don't think that it goes along with this so-called plan. Yeah.
That was my next question.
I am doing it currently to prolong the life that I have. But the moment that I finish with all of this, I will stop.
And then what?
And then what?
Yeah.
Blissful release.
That doesn't sound very blissful.
Why work so hard towards something that you're never going to enjoy?
Because my sister deserved better.
So do you.
Yes.
My version of better is bettering her life. So that's what I will do.
What's your favorite color?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You actually get a almost manic laugh out of him.
What's your
It's
favorite color?
it's like breathless. Blue.
That's a
I
good
thought
color.
it was black. I asked you in my dream last night,
Never
but
mind.
you didn't answer
I
that
was
part.
gonna say
Arya
green.
begins to say, that's so...
He blinks. He looks at you, Arlo. It has changed over the years, I suppose.
That makes
I've
sense.
heard that can happen, you know.
When so many of your favorite
It is
things
pretty.
are blue.
I'm gonna throw up.
We've heard a lot about Ulrich. What's been going on with him? Is he bad? Did he actually...
Is he alive?
Is he alive? Good, that's a good one. Good job there.
No.
Okay.
I took his soul, and I put his body in a coffin, and I chained it, and I threw it in the oceans of Subnara.
Good.
That seems fitting.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I'm really glad that you said that, because this clears up a lot.
Do you know where Ben is?
He doesn't even look at you when you ask this, Theron. And his eyes just fixate on... His eyes fixate on Arlo for a moment. And he looks at you. And he says, "A few seconds left, so I will say this. I still hold his soul. And the moment that this is all over, Arlo, it is yours to destroy."
Holy shit.
You have my word.
You deserve that much. And then should you need to, you can destroy mine as well.
I won't be doing that.